Everyone knows Hollywood's major stars and a lot about their personal lives, but the many character actors that we see in movie after movies, most people know little about them, or even their names. Here's a quick look at some that you will recognize, but may know little about. Do you recognize this character actress? I bet you do. You've seen her in dozens of major films. She's known as Katy Jurado. She was born the 16th of January 1924 in Guadalajara, Mexico. She was born into an affluent, wealthy Mexican family. Since a youngster, her heart was set on becoming an actress, although her family will never give their permission, thinking that actors were beneath their status. As a teenager, she began working with Mexican producers and filmmakers through her family's connections and her good looks. When her family discovered that she had signed a contract without their authorization, they threatened to send her to a boarding school in Monterrey. She married Victor Valquez, an aspiring actor, in order to escape her family and continue acting at the age of 15. They'll have 2 kids, Victor Hugo and Sandra. Her career began in the U.S. in 1943, the same year that her and Victor were divorced. In 1952, producer Stanley Kramer cast her as Helen Ramirez, a former girlfriend of Sheriff Wilke, played by Gary Cooper, in High Noon.
About you and Will. I've been trying to understand why he wouldn't go with me, and now all I can think of is that it's got to be because of you.
What do you want from me?
Let him go. He still has a chance. Let him go.
I cannot help you.
Please.
He isn't staying for me. I have spoken to him for a year, until today.
Katy earned a Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actress for her performance as Helen Ramirez. In 1954, Katy will play Senora Deveron in Broken Lance with Robert Wagner, Richard Widmark, and Spencer Tracy. In 1958, Katy will play with Ernest Borgnine in The Badlanders. Although it had been 16 years since her divorce from Victor, she will marry Ernest Borgnine in 1959. They'll be married for 4 years and divorce in 1963. Katy has appeared in over 70 films and numerous TV shows. On the 5th of July 2002, after a long battle with heart and lung ailments, Katy Jurado passed away from kidney failure. She was 78 years old. She was buried back in her beloved Mexico. I know you recognize this man. He's played in hundreds of films and TV westerns, mostly as villains. His name is Robert J. Wilke. He was born and raised in Covington, Kentucky in 1914. Robert started out with a number of jobs, including a high dive act in the 1930s World's Fair. He later got a job as a lifeguard at a Florida hotel, where he met people in the film business, and they helped him to get started as a stuntman. From stuntman, he began getting bit parts. His first was San Francisco in 1936 with Clark Gable and Jeanette MacDonald. Through his career, he nearly always played the heavy. In 1952, he was one of the 3 men waiting at the train station in High Noon. In 1954, he played the hired gun in The Far Country with James Stewart and Ruth Roman. In 1966, he'll be the railroad bully that was killed off by James Colburn's character in The Magnificent Seven. Robert will pass away on March the 28th, 1989, at the age of 74, from a long battle with cancer. He left his wife Patricia and one son. How many times have you seen this actor? What do you actually know about him? Well, his name is Richard Hanley Jaeckel. He was born in Long Beach, New York in October 1926. His dad was a business owner and his mother was a stage actress. In 1934, the family moved to Los Angeles, and Richard graduated from Hollywood High School. When he was 17, he began working as a mail boy at 20th Century Studios. In 1943, he auditioned for a part in the film Guadalcanal Diary.
Hey, look.
Yeah.
This is it.
This was during the war when actors and extras were scarce. This started a major career as a character actor for Jaeckel. He appeared in 3:10 to Yuma in 1957. Richard played Charles Prince, second in command to Ben Wade's gang, played by Glenn Ford. When Dan Evans, played by Van Heflin, tries to put outlaw Ben Wade on the 3:10 train to Yuma prison, his gang tried to stop him.
Here's to the boss. He had to say goodbye to one of the outfit, and that's too bad. If it hadn't been goodbye for him, it could have been goodbye for some of the rest of us. Boss?
In 1967, he played Sergeant Boren, second in command to Lee Marvin in The Dirty Dozen, where an Army major trains a dozen convicted murderers to carry out a mass assassination mission during World War II. In 1970, Jaeckel had a prominent supporting role in a John Wayne movie, Chisholm, helping to boost his exposure. Jaeckel at one time or another played in every major Western on TV. And in 1971, Richard was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor in Sometimes a Great Notion, with Paul Newman, Henry Fonda, and Lee Remick.
Hey, Hank. You ain't gonna let this old river up and drown me, are you? Hank, it's shifted, Hank.
In 1947, he married Antoinette Marches in Tijuana, Mexico. They'll remain married for life and have two sons, Barry and Richard Jr. Unfortunately, Richard Jaeckel will lose his 3-year battle with melanoma cancer on June 14, 1997, at the Motion Picture and Television Hospital in Woodland Hills, California. He was 70 years old. I know you recognize this character actor. He's performed in hundreds of stage, film, and TV productions. His name is John Robert Anderson. You'll remember him as Elder Hammond in Ride the High Country with Randolph Scott, Joel McCrea, and Mariette Hartley. Elder is one of the Hammond brothers that ravishes his brother's new wife. Although he's better known for TV roles such as Gunsmoke.
You want to go with him, Abby? Or you want to stay here and dodge?
I never want to see him again as long as I live.
All right, then you go on over to Long Branch and find Kitty.
What do you think you're doing? This ain't no business of the law, mister.
You broke a promise I made to her, Seipel. I told her nobody'd ever hit her again.
Planning to interfere with a man's natural rights?
I want to teach you a lesson.
He loved to play shows such as Twilight Zone.
This is a jet aircraft.
Did you say a jet aircraft?
Let me handle it. LaGuardia, this is a jet. We have 4 big, lovely turbines, and they're getting hungry, running short on fuel. We want a radar vector to Idlewild. Do you have us in radar contact, or don't you?
I don't know who you are, and we don't know anything at all about radar or jets or anything else. But if you're really low on fuel, we'll clear you to land here.
In 1962, Anderson played the Bible-thumping Indian agent that was willing to sell the Indian land for a price in Jurado that starred Chuck Connors and Camille Devi.
Is that the paper?
Yes.
And you signed it?
It was a mistake. Tear it up. I promise I'll tear it up.
Which hand signed the paper? Which hand?
In real life, Connors and Devi will marry after the film is finished. John Anderson was born on October the 22nd, 1922, on a small farm outside Clayton, Illinois. He always said he had a normal, happy childhood. He graduated from Quincy High School in 1940. He joined the Coast Guard during World War II. And on June 8, 1946, he married Patricia Kaysen. After marriage, they moved to Iowa City so he could attend college. He graduated from the University of Iowa with a master in drama. His career started on a Mississippi riverboat, the Golden Rod. It's now the oldest surviving showboat in America. From the Golden Rod, he went to performing on the stage and doing summer stock. It was a short jump from there to the movies. In the meantime, John and Patricia will have 2 children, Jeff and Kelsey. On February the 18th, 1989, after 42 years of marriage, Patricia Anderson will pass away. 3 years after Patricia's passing, John Robert Anderson will pass at his home in Sherman Oaks, California, from a massive heart attack at the age of 69. His ashes were scattered at sea. This is Willis Ben Bouchey. He performed in over 150 films and TV shows. Willis was born May the 24th, 1907, in Vernon, Michigan. He'll grow up in Washington State with his mother and stepdad. Willis married Thelma Evelyn Maggart on December the 2nd, 1933. They'll remain married for life. Bouchey was able to work in early radios because of his distinctive voice.
With action and suspense out of the Old West comes the most famous hero of them all, Hopalong Cassidy.
He ended up playing the role of Captain Midnight. His dignified and sober persona made him perfect for playing police detectives. He became a member of Jack Webb's Dragnet Stock Company. He will play in almost every TV show at that time.
Not a routine call, Mr. Harrison. We'd like to see your son if he's home.
Harry? What do you have to see him about?
Do you have any idea where your boy spent his time today after school?
Well, he said he was going down to the gym to play a little basketball. Then he was going to the library. School night. He had studying to do.
I think maybe you ought to keep a closer check on your son, sir. That's not the way we get it.
What are you getting at?
At the age of 44, Willis Bouchey gets his first movie role. In 1951, Bouchey had an unaccredited role in his first film, Elopement, a comedy film starring Clifton Webb and Anne Francis. In 1954, he'll become Captain Evans in The Bridges of Toko-Ri, starring William Holden, Frederick March, and Grace Kelly, along with Mickey Rooney. It's about a Navy pilot shot down over North Korea.
Brubaker, huh?
You know him.
No, I don't think I've ever seen him. But I bet I can describe him. He's about 30, well-built. Good-looking boy with a bit of a temper.
That's Brubaker, all right.
Didn't you ever notice the pilots the Admiral takes special interest in always look like that?
Now that you mention it, yeah.
That's what the Admiral's son, George, would look like.
In 1959, Bouchey played Colonel Phil Secord, second in command to Colonel John Marlowe, played by John Wayne, in The Horse Soldier. A Union cavalry brigade is sent on a raid behind Confederate lines in Mississippi during the Civil War. Their job was to destroy a railroad and supply depot in Newton Station. William Holden played Major Henry Kendall, a regimental surgeon that was at odds with John Wayne's character. While camping at Greenbrier Plantation, Mississippi, Hannah Hunter, played by Constance Towers, overhears the plans being discussed by Colonel Marlowe and others. they had no choice but to take her with them. In 1962, Bouchey played the train conductor, Jason Tully, who makes the last statement in the film, "The man who shot Liberty Valance." James Stewart, who played Ransom Stoddard, the one everyone believed that killed the bully and bad man Liberty Valance, played by Lee Marvin, Stoddard became governor and senator from his reputation of killing Valance. After discovering that John Wayne's character, Tom Donovan, is the real one who killed Liberty Valance, Ransom Stoddard and his wife Holly Stoddard, played by Vera Miles, was on the train heading back to Washington, and Ransom worried about his career being built on a lie. The conductor, Willis Bouchey's character, will tell Senator Stoddard,
"You think nothing of it. Nothing's too good for the man who shot Liberty Valance."
In 1969, it'll be a comedy western, Support Your Local Sheriff, with James Garner as Jason, the reluctant sheriff who was just temporary because he was on his way to Australia. The town council, of which Bouchey's character, Thomas Devery, is one of them, was always looking for a new town sheriff because they was always getting killed.
Hey, you the man I talked to about...
You'll have to wait your turn, mister.
About the job of sheriff?
You interested in the job of sheriff?
Well, maybe. How much does it pay?
Well, none of our sheriffs ever lived long enough to find out.
Willis Bouchey was able to play all parts from drama to comedy. He appeared in over 150 films and TV shows. Unfortunately, not much is really known about his personal life. We know he passed away on September the 27th, 1977, in Burbank, California. He was 70 years old and was cremated. The cause of his death, unannounced. This is one of the better-known Hollywood character actors. He's an actor, musician, and singer. He has appeared in almost every Western show on TV, including 8 appearances on Gunsmoke, 4 times on Rawhide, twice on Bonanza, and numerous others, not including movies. His name is Harry Dean Stanton. He was born July the 14th, 1926, in West Irving, Kentucky. His parents were Sheridan Harry Stanton, a tobacco farmer and barber, and Ursula Mobley Stanton, a cook and hairdresser. Harry had 2 younger brothers, Archie and Ralph. He also had a half-brother, Stanley McKnight. Harry attended Lafayette High School in Lexington, Kentucky. While there, he sang in a barbershop quartet and learned to play the guitar. His parents divorced while he was in high school, but they'll later reunite. He graduated in 1944 during the Second World War. From high school, he went directly into the Navy. He was told, he said, that the safest place to be in the Navy was a cook on a cargo ship. He said they forgot to tell me that LSTs carry ammunition, and it was a primary target for kamikaze pilots. I figured that out during the Battle of Okinawa, he said. I made it through okay, but it leaves a lasting impression. After the Navy, he returned to Lexington and entered the University of Kentucky on the GI Bill. There he began acting in school plays. He said he liked acting, but he didn't like the stage. He said it's way too much work, it takes too much time, and not enough money. He quit college before graduating and hopped on a bus for California. While looking for parts, he enrolled in the Pasadena Playhouse with classmate Dana Andrews, and in 1956, Harry would get his first unaccredited role as a Department of Corrections employee in The Wrong Man that starred Henry Fonda and Vera Miles, where the wrong man was accused of a crime. In 1957, he landed his first accredited part in Tommy Hawk Trail that starred Chuck Connors as Sergeant Wade McCoy, and Susan Cummings played Ellen Carter. Harry will be Private Macy. The story is about an incompetent cavalry lieutenant that allows his troops to be ambushed by Apaches. When he is wounded, the command falls to Sergeant McCoy, Chuck Connors.
Doing my duty, sir, if I didn't take over.
Arrest this man! Miller, you heard me, arrest him!
What right have you got to be giving orders? The lieutenant's a casualty. He doesn't know what he's doing.
He's still a lieutenant, isn't he? And you're only a sergeant.
That's right, and I'm taking over as of now. Take care of him.
Arrest this man!
Miller, stay with him. He's not well.
The entire movie was shot, they say, in 4 days. In 1967, Harry will get to put his singing and playing ability to good use as a singing prisoner in Cool Hand Luke, starring Paul Newman as a prisoner that the system was trying to break.
Ain't no grave gonna keep my body down. Ain't no grave gonna hold my body down.
In 1970, Harry will play in a World War II film, Kelly's Heroes, that starred Clint Eastwood, Telly Savalas, and Donald Sutherland.
Big Joe! If I gotta carry all this equipment and this satchel charge and this 30 caliber machine gun, too?
Give the 30 caliber to the hustler. He wants to be a hero.
Here you are, old buddy. Thanks. Get yourself a bucket of grit.
The movie was filmed in Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia was the only place that still had several working World War II Army tanks. Also, Yugoslavia was under a dictatorship. You could make money there, but you couldn't take it out of the country. So the studio had leftover money from other movies that they could use to make Kelly's Hero. In one scene, Stanton was resting in a field with other soldiers, playing a harmonica and singing a song about an old dog named Blue. The movie is about a group of U.S. soldiers in World War II after going AWOL to sneak across enemy lines and trying to find billions in hidden Nazi gold. The movie was actually based on a real-life gold heist entitled The Greatest Robbery on Record in the Guinness Book of World Records. While filming, Donald Sutherland got severely sick and was hospitalized with spinal meningitis. They didn't have the right kind of medicine, so he went into a coma for several days. He slowly recovered, but said he would never forget Kelly's Heroes. They called his wife and said, "Get over here as soon as possible," and told her that he probably wouldn't make it. Sutherland said that he went to Yugoslavia for what he thought was a one-day shoot. It turned into 6 weeks. In 1981, Harry will land a part in One from the Heart, a musical romance drama film. It starred Frederick Forrest and Terry Garr. While there, Stanton will meet 22-year-old actress Rebecca De Mornay. They'll become involved. They'll remain together until 1983, when she gets a lead role in Risky Business with Tom Cruise and starts dating him. In 1984, Harry will be the lead actor in Paris, Texas. He will star with Dean Stockwell. Harry said this was his favorite film that he had ever worked on. He received critical acclaim for his performance. Also in 1984, he'll star with Emilia Escovedo in The Repo Man, about a world-weary boss of an auto repossession firm who teaches a younger Escoved's character the tricks to the dangerous trade. In 1996, Harry Dean Stanton was at home around 8 p.m. at 14527 Mulholland Drive, above Sherman Oaks. When he answered the door, 3 men with guns barged in. This was no movie. Placing a gun to his head, he was asked later by police if they threatened to kill him. He said, "No, but the gun to my head did." They tied him up in his bedroom, ransacked the house, they beat him with a pistol, and they took an undisclosed amount of money. When the robbers left, they took Harry's car. The Alexa had a locator device on it that was activated after Harry managed to get free and call the police. They'll locate the robbers and arrest them after a chase where the Alexa is wrecked. Stanton, through the years, had become sort of a figure at Dan Tana's, a West Hollywood landmark, where he would drink with friends. The robbers might have known this and found out where he lived from information gathered there. Harry was okay with only minor injuries, a couple of black eyes. Harry Stanton appeared in over 200 TV shows and movies during his career. He always said he liked playing bit parts instead of being the star. You don't have to work so hard, a lot less responsibility. I could have been a leading man, he said. I was offered a TV series as a private investigator. That would have made me a leading man. You don't need experience, he said, to be an actor. Anyone can do it. Just be yourself. In 1999, Harry played Lyle, the sick brother of Alvin Strait, played by Richard Farnsworth in The Strait Story, who rides a lawnmower from Iowa to Wisconsin when he hears that Lyle has had a stroke and might not live. Sissy Spacek plays Rose, Alvin's daughter. The same year, Harry will be in The Green Mile, starring Tom Hanks as the captain of the Death Row Guards. Stanton will play one of Hanks' guards. Michael Duncan plays as a death row inmate named John Coffey. Duncan will be nominated for Best Supporting Actor for his role. After retiring from acting, Harry said that he would get up in the mornings, come to this couch, get the paper, and work the crossword puzzle that he loved doing. He would wait for his friend Ed Begley Jr. to call so that he could discuss today's puzzle. He would call, he said, and he'd say, "Did you get 21 cross?" On September the 15th, 2017, Harry Dean Stanton was taken to the Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles with heart failure. He was 91 years old. His ashes were spread over his hometown, Lexington, Kentucky. Harry Dean Stanton was never married.
How would you like to be remembered?
Doesn't matter.